The artist you're about to meet fell in love with metalwork back in high school. After that, he bounced around from job to job before realizing to get any job satisfaction, he'd have to follow his dream. Cindy Carter recently went to the workshop of Ashland City native Keith Herendon.
Keith Herendon's job gets pretty.
So I'm giving it some air from the blower.
Heated at times, actually most of the time. Certainly you can call him a blacksmith, but he says that title isn't a perfect fit.
You can't just say blacksmith nowadays. It gets people think you might be shoeing horses.
Keith is much more comfortable with the term blacksmith artist. And if you look at some of the beautiful and beautifully intricate pieces he's done over the years, you'd agree.
I cut the wine bottles myself, made the whole thing, riveted it all together, and it's over 80 pounds.
See, not a horse in sight. He does have a dragon. Keith crafted this fire-breathing forge for larger pieces. And inside Keith's basement workshop, he uses what he calls his Mickey Mouse forge for smaller ones.
No matter what's going on in the world, I'm going to come down here at 7 o'clock in the morning and make something.
Keith has been making something out of iron since he was in high school.
I took a class called General Metals, and then once I grabbed a piece of metal, I knew exactly what to do with it. So I was making rocking chairs, and my teacher just gave me some metal and said, hey, I want you to make these rocking chairs, and I didn't know how to make a rocking chair. It took me a while to figure it out.
But he did figure it out pretty quickly, moving on from his first rocking chair to more complicated pieces.
Then I would just find a catalog out of the mail and started seeing different designs of like a sunflower or such like that, and I started making my own furniture.
Blacksmiths forge fire with raw metal, melting, hammering, and bending their designs into existence.
It does a lot better when it's hot.
It's a functional art form, which means Keith doesn't have to be a starving artist. He pays his bills making in-demand items like gates, doors, and handrails. Oh, lots and lots of handrails.
This is my blueprints. I hardly ever take anybody else's blueprints.
Keith says those measurements are the most important step. He learns if he was off only when the project is completed, and no one wants to start over.
This is a tree handrail that I'm working on. Almost finished with one. I got two to do.
From here, it's a painstaking process of fire, strength, patience, more fire, and so on, until Keith has a result like those tree handrails both he and his client are happy with.
You don't have to be smart, you don't have to be good looking, you don't have to know a lot. All you have to do is just keep your word. When you tell that person you're going to do something, you just do it.
Handrails and gates, they all have artistic value, but Keith says he wishes sometimes his clients would think more outside of the box and ask him to make something a little bit more like this.
Or this, or that, or even that. This is the kind of work that lights Keith's fire.
You got an idea in your head, now you got to try to make it come together somehow.
Keith makes his metal art in between those jobs that pay the bills. Most pieces are his own design, but sometimes he'll see something in a book, challenge himself to recreate it, and then travel the world to track down the original work of art.
Made this door knocker, and it took a long time. It took a couple of months. I was off and on working on it. I knew it was going to take a long time, but I wanted to do it, and it was. When I finished it, I was looking it all up online, and I said, well, this exists in Barcelona. I always wanted to go to Barcelona.
As great as it was to lay eyes on the original 16th century door knocker that inspired him, Keith says it felt even better knowing he nailed it.
It gives me like satisfaction, joy, happy.
That happiness is why Keith works so hard, all day, almost every day, despite the very physical and sometimes emotional toll it takes.
I think I did enough today. I'm finished. And then I just
This blacksmith is grateful for the work, all of the iron work he gets to do in his shop. But the blacksmith artist is always looking forward to the day when he can leave the handrails behind and focus on the art that burns in his soul.
It would be great one day to say, I don't do that anymore. You need to call this guy. You missed me by 10 years.